Guys, I can't believe how fast we ran out of our Scent Club mystery box number 4. We dropped it officially last Sunday around noon. By the time the morning came the following day, we were completely out of mystery box number 4. We did about 500 kits and we ran out. Although we did open it a day before to past purchasers or past people that have signed up to be notified. So if you were one of the lucky ones, congrats that you got it. But don't worry, there will be more kits dropping in the future. But in this video, I'm going to talk to you about all of the fragrances that are in the kit. Some of you probably have already started receiving these. The kits have been actually shipped on Friday. And so some of you probably got them by Saturday. If you haven't gotten yours already, you'll get it on Monday, Tuesday, and so on. Find out about what's in the Scent Club mystery box number 4 coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sebastian. We're talking about the Scent Club mystery box. Were you one of the folks that got a kit? Again, as I said, don't worry. We have another regular kit dropping very, very soon. As I was mentioning earlier in the last week's video, I'm trying to get caught up because we weren't able to do the required amount of kits that we had set out to do earlier this year, because we did eventually take the production of the kits back because we were having issues with the production company or the fulfillment company. So we're doing them ourselves here. It's been quite busy, and basically we are dropping one more kit here next month. Well, it's actually already August, so I'm shooting this before it is August. And also, we're going to prepare the kit in October, because once the kit number 11, Scent Club kit number 11 drops in August, I leave probably like 2 to 3 weeks after that. So yeah, good stuff coming, but we are talking about the fragrances that are in the kit, and I'm going to do this as fast as I can. We're starting off with the first fragrance. This is not in any specific order. In fact, the cards will not be this order. I usually always take notes down for the order that I receive the products, the samples in. So the first one we're going to talk to you about is a Saudi brand. I've got 2 Saudi brands back to back. First of which is Ibrahim FUHAID's ORRISILLA. You guys familiar with this brand? They are sold at Lucky Scent. I have it linked in the info box. It's Orris for the top, heart, and base. It's called ORRISILLA after all. We've got Musk, Mimosa powder, Amber in the heart and the base, Cocoa, Patchouli, Vanilla in the heart and base, Cedar, red berries, and Mandarin. Very luxurious take on Orris. If you like the Orris Iris combo with all of these notes that I mentioned, it's powdery. There's some light fruitiness there. There's vanillic touches, earthy touches, musky touches. Quite a gorgeous production here. And definitely on the indie artisanal side. And I think if you're a lover of Orris Iris powdery fragrances, you're going to want to check that one out. And I hope you got to sample it already if you've gotten your kit. Next, going to Amer Perfumes, once again from Saudi Arabia. This is Arabian Jasmine. So this fragrance is also a winner of the Aftel Award for Handmade Perfume over at the Art and Olfaction Awards earlier this, well, I think it was in June that it took place. This is a jasmine bomb with the roses. So there's a lot of roses and jasmine in this one. It features Arabian, Indian jasmine, musk, white ambergris, saffron, Taif, Bulgarian and Azerbaijani rose, violet leaves, Thai and Indian agarwood, Indian and Indonesian sandalwood, bergamot, cardamom, cloves. Lots of good stuff here. It is super, super amazing. I can see why it won. If you like the idea of flowers and jasmine being the king of, you know, the note that's in here, the prominent note, you're going to want to try this. It is absolutely fantastic. I can't believe how great this is. You know, created by an indie artisanal perfumer, and they've done an amazing job with that. Continuing with the jasmine as a focus note here, we've got JACQUES Jasmine de Toscane, this one right here. Are you guys familiar with this house? They are sold here in the States over at Macy's, I believe. Macy's online sells these. But I have a link to all of the fragrances in the info box, as much as I could get. There might be 1 or 2 that I would not have a link here. And stay tuned also next Sunday. I will do an updated video and mention all the discount codes if we can get discount codes for the fragrances. But this fragrance features Indian and Sambac jasmine plus living jasmine Sambac Grand Duke of Tuscany. That's why it's called Jasmine de Toscane. It's also featuring notes of sinfonide, benjoin or benzoin, hazelnut accord, grapefruit oil, freesia, and petitgrain. Are you guys fans of jasmine? You know, jasmine is a great flower. I absolutely love it. Here in California, we have a lot. Not necessarily true jasmine. It's kind of a type of jasmine. And man, under the sun, it smells amazing, intoxicating smell. And the fragrance just projects off of the bushes because they're in kind of a bush format. I'm smelling this and it's smelling great, by the way. And it's really, really wonderful to walk past these jasmine bushes. And that scent is amplified off of them, especially under the sun, because they bake, and that's when the fragrance comes off of those flowers amazingly. But this is, once again, a jasmine bomb. It's a lot fresher, for sure. This is created by an IFF perfumer. It's created by Jean-Christophe Hirol, who also created previous fragrance for this house, which is the Vetiver Gris, and then also the next fragrance, which is also amazing, amazing. This is a incense fragrance. Wonderful, amazing, amazing incense fragrance, by the way. But this one, to me, is a gorgeous, gorgeous jasmine. A lot fresher than the previous jasmine, but fantastic smell. So that's JACQUES Jasmine de Toscane. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. But the next fragrance we're talking about is Atelier des Ors Villa Primrose. This one right here. Are you guys familiar with Atelier des Ors? So this fragrance features notes of centifolia rose, musk, ambrette, amber woods, leather, iris, pear, pink pepper, and cardamom. Did you guys catch my video last week with Gigi? We did a video on fragrances that transport you to a vacation destination. This was one of the fragrances we spoke about. This to me is a tribute to the centifolia rose, the May rose that grows in Grasse, where also it was known for their leather tanneries. So it's a leather rose combo. It does have a light fruitiness in there, and I feel like the fruitiness is nicely done against the leather and the rose. And I feel like fruits come up quite often with leather, and I do enjoy it when they, you know, combine it in a leather, the rose combined with the leather. Kind of sort of reminds me a little bit of French leather from the house of Memo Paris, but different. It has some light fruitiness, but in the end has some Middle Eastern touches as well. Gorgeous fragrance. If you haven't tried it, please do. That is Villa Primrose from the house of Atelier des Ors. Beautiful bottles for sure. And then next we have the second fragrance that was launched together from this house. It's Blue Madeleine, this one right here. So Blue Madeleine is a tea gourmand for me, and this was also featured in that fragrance that transport you to a vacation destination. This to me took me to a... Well, the previous fragrance took me to the Middle East for sure, but this one takes me to a afternoon tea experience in England, London somewhere. But Blue Madeleine features black tea, sandalwood, pralines, cinnamon, milky notes, cade, Peru balsam, bergamot, pink pepper, and rose. Quite delicious gourmand, very creamy. It's inspired by the Madeleines. I was a big fan of those little treats. I used to have them all the time with coffee, like a macchiato or something. I haven't lately, but I really love them. But they're also really delicious with tea, and that's what they have in this. It's tea with the rest of the notes, the milky notes. But look at how these spray. You can see the gold flakes coming out on the strip. Yeah, this is really good. If you like tea, this has a bit of smoke. I don't know if you guys are experienced tea drinkers. There are some teas out there that come off smoky, and you get that here. But it's got that milk. I like to mix milk with smoky teas. That combination is delicious, by the way. And here they've captured this really beautiful tea gourmand with Blue Madeleine from the house of Atelier des Ors. Up next, going to the house of Perfumology, which is actually a retailer in Philadelphia. And they have a line of fragrances, and their latest fragrance is called Boutique. And Boutique is inspired by their boutique, basically what it smells like in there. Very unique fragrance experience here. I'm glad somebody's created something like this, because when you walk into a perfume shop, or when you walk into the studio also, there is a certain smell. And it's the smell of all the perfumes that have been sprayed, and it leaves an impression in there. When you walk in, you can smell it. Not when I was spraying a lot of Followed, by the way. Followed would just totally take over here. This is not Followed for sure. But Boutique features red apples, ambertolide, grapefruit, amber, white flowers, jasmine, magnolia, dry woods, vanilla, musk, cedar, and orris. Really great creation. If you guys caught a video I did recently on Justin Federico fragrances, he created this fragrance. And also I've reviewed quite a bit of fragrances from Perfumology, and their bottles used to look different. Now they look like this. I think they've done a great job with their bottles. And so a great fragrance. For me, this is a musky, floral, fruity fragrance, you know, and it's got ambery touches and woods, but I'm getting a really fruity experience with amber, and of course there's citrusy touches coming in. I think the creation is really wonderful. I really like it. Nothing like any of their other fragrances, by the way. Every single fragrance that Perfumology has launched is so different and so unique. And that's how I was introduced to Justin Federico's fragrances. And once again, a great release from the house of Perfumology. Let me know if you've tried that brand. Next, moving on to the house of Acro, we have Rise, this one right here. Who's familiar with Acro? Acro's Rise is a tropical fragrance. For me, it's very beachy, and it wears really nicely. I think this is the kind of fragrance you save for very warm days, featuring notes of coconut water, pina colada, tiar flower, sandalwood. These are the 4 fragrances they have credited, and I feel like there's certainly a beachy, a bit suntan lotiony kind of an effect happening here, but also a bit coconutty. In the background, you do experience some saltiness. I feel like I get the saltiness in here, and whenever I smell salt in fragrances, it kind of tones down whatever sweetness there is. Like it dilutes it, and you know, kind of the effect of sweet and salty at the same time. But giving me very much beachy vibes with tropical flowers and tropical fruits. Definitely, if you're into the idea of beachy fragrance, try Rise from the house of Acro. And then we have a second Acro fragrance. This is Smile, this one right here. So Smile is a fragrance that was created by Olivier Cresp for his daughter. So apparently this was created for her specifically, and she wore it all the time. And they decided to release it as a fragrance. And here we have a sample in the mystery box. So Smile features notes of sage, bergamot, natural raspberry, and musk. To me, it's basically a fruity musk. It wears nice. If you like the idea of musks, but you don't like the idea of a plain old musk that's a bit on the animalic side, and you like the idea of fruits, this is definitely one for you to try. It does have some aromatics for sure and citrusy touches, but it's a fruity musk with the raspberry note. If you know anything about musk therapy from the house of Initio Parfums, you would probably like something like this. I feel like it's perfect in the summertime. It does have the aromatics though. You definitely notice the sage. It comes through. But I feel like what's shining are the notes of musk and natural raspberry that's in here. So that's Smile. And these 2 fragrances from Acro I think are perfect for summertime. We do have some summer days left, and it's still warm out there, so I think you can pull those out and wear them really nicely. Moving on to the house of Enfant Coty. This is Après l'Amour. So I was able to get a sample here in this kit from the house of Enfant Coty. So this is a rebranding of the Coty house and their new niche fragrances, and definitely one of my favorites in the collection. If you haven't caught a video I did for the brand, I spoke to a woman that works for the brand in their store in Paris in the Marais, and we went through their fragrances. This is definitely one I fell in love with. This is created by Fabrice Pellegrin. They credit only notes of ginger, labdanum, and tobacco, but I do get a lot of amber here. Of course, labdanum is what creates the amber accord. It does have spices. It's a bit fresh spicy and also warm spicy. There's some warmth in here for sure. Maybe not necessarily featuring notes like cinnamon and warm notes like that, warm spice notes. You do get some traces of things like that. Maybe more like nutmeg, where it's a bit nondescript. And for sure, this is a tobacco fragrance. It's inspired by, you know, having sex and then afterwards smoking a cigarette kind of a thing. But gorgeous fragrance. I really love it. It's created by Fabrice Pellegrin. Great tobacco fragrance. Ambery, spicy. Really delicious, actually. So that is Enfant Coty's Après l'Amour. All right, next up we're going to the house of Kajal. This is Icon. I can't believe how good this fragrance is. The pineapple, passion fruit, ginger combo is super, super fantastic and perfect for warm, hot summer days. Now, Kajal has created fragrances with pineapple. That's Lamar. And then they've also created a fragrance with passion fruit called Dahab, I believe, from what I remember. Now they've combined the 2 together. No, this does not smell like Aventus. I guess it might have slight touches, but this is definitely not Aventus vibes. But on me, it smells super fantastic. And I feel like Kajal does Really great fruity fragrances. Because Lamar is my favorite from this house. This might be a competitor for it. I still prefer Lamar because it's a bit more warmer. It's pineapple with warm notes. This is more fresh notes to me. It's pineapple, ginger, passion fruit, mandarin, jasmine, vanilla, vetiver, pralines, black pepper, musk, sandalwood, and patchouli. It's super fantastic, really wonderful. It smells really, really great, guys. If you haven't tried this, please do. Yum. You definitely notice the pineapple, and I'm noticing the pineapple, the inside of the core more. It's juicy, but also a bit dry. And then you're also noticing the passion fruit quite a bit. Zing there for sure with the ginger, and then of course citruses. Very fresh. So that's Icon from the House of Kajal. Next, going to the House of Mancera, it's Intense Red Tobacco. So when I got the chance to feature this fragrance, I jumped on it because I never got to sample this fragrance. I don't know what it, I never heard about it, never saw it anywhere, and never really experienced it and compared it to the original Red Tobacco. I'm gonna have to do that one day, but I was grateful enough to be able to get a sample of Intense Red Tobacco. And of course, everybody knows what the Red Tobacco is all about. It's basically a very intense take on a tobacco fragrance. This is tobacco, leather, cinnamon, vanilla, musk, incense, pears, JACQUES, patchouli, oud, saffron, nutmeg, jasmine, ambergris, sandalwood, and vetiver. It does smell like the original. It smells a slight bit different. I'm not sure it's as fruity as it used to be in the previous version, so I will have to do a comparison, but in the meantime, there is a sample of Intense Red Tobacco in the Scent Club Mystery Box. Moving on to the House of Scent Trunk. Are you guys familiar with Scent Trunk? We have Starlight Sesame. So this is a really yummy take on sesame as a fragrance. It's nutty, but I get major soapiness with this fragrance. Very, very interesting. A very indie artisanal creation that I think you guys are going to really, really enjoy. It features notes of nutmeg, black pepper, bergamot, tonka, heliotrope, sesame seeds, honey, tobacco, labdanum, oak moss, fir balsam, narcissus, and also an accord called jaggery, which is basically raw sugar. Scent Trunk does really great fragrances. They're all indie artisanal niche, and they go to a different indie perfumer, and it creates a fragrance for Scent Trunk. And they are local, somewhat local. They're in Santa Cruz, California, but it's really, really wonderful. Not necessarily a gourmand, because usually you associate sesame seeds with gourmand nutty fragrances. This does not go gourmand to me. It's more spicy, aromatic, and of course woody, and it has some, ambery touches under there as well. Really a great fragrance. I think those of you that like nutty fragrances, for me, sesame seeds are nutty. They do have a nutty and also a bit creamy consistency. So I think you're going to enjoy that one if you haven't tried anything like that, especially if you like soapy, because I get soapiness from that one. Moving on to the House of Inastra, this is Wega. So I did a video with Joe on this house, on their first 4 fragrances, and this is their latest fragrance. Remember, the mystery box are fragrances that are very new releases, mostly 2023 right now. Some have just launched, and some have launched, a bit of, what am I saying, 2023? It's 2024 right now. So mostly from 2023 to 2024. But this is a rose fragrance, but it goes gourmand. It's a bit creamy. It's rose, cherry blossoms, raspberry, marshmallows, vanilla, tonka beans, vetiver. Maybe the idea might be like Love Don't Be Shy, but it doesn't wear like that because there's no orange blossom here. But I would think maybe something like Intense Cafe, but it doesn't smell like that either. I would say this kind of has hints of Delina, if you like that sort of thing. Bit fruity too, and I feel like there's no fruits listed here, but I feel like we got cherry blossoms, so maybe we're getting fruitiness from there. For me, the cherry blossoms don't act very fruity, more like floral blossoms. But here we get a bit of fruitiness, but really gorgeous. I think if you like Delina, you might like Inastra's Wega. So check that out, and please go catch that video I did on the house as well. Overview of 4 fragrances from that house. Alright, I can't believe how great this fragrance is. This is a really, really great release from this house. Ormond Jane's Vanille des Afriques Intensivo. Have you guys tried this one? So when I wear this one, I get the idea of mastic resin with vanilla. It acts like that on me, because in my culture we use mastic resin in cooking and cuisine. So I kind of know the taste. So when I'm wearing this one, the way it's blended, it acts like I'm smelling vanilla with mastic resin. But it's both mostly Madagascar and bourbon vanilla with Orris butter. That's what's giving us that kind of an experience. It also features jasmine absolute, coriander seeds, Sicilian bergamot, carrot seeds, osmanthus, magnolia buds, cedar, vetiver, amber, and musk. Are you guys familiar with this one? It's really good, guys. Definitely on the masculine side. It's not necessarily your sugary sweet kind of vanilla. I think whatever notes they're using against the vanilla, and it has two kinds of vanillas. It's toning down the vanilla qualities. Yes, in fact, I've worn this one. As you can see, I'm a big vanilla lover. You can see that. Compliments, for sure. Really, really great fragrance. This is going to be a really great hit. If you haven't tried this one, you're going to love it, especially if you like vanilla. But once again, it's not necessarily your sugary sweet vanilla. But moving on to the next one, it's Zulika Parfums Nota Loca. So Nota Loca is another tropical fruit bomb. And it has mangoes, but it has also a lot of other tropical fruits in here. So it's just basically a tropical fruit basket exploded and you're smelling all the essences come to life in front of you, kind of a thing. So it features notes of acai berries, basically, coconuts, yuzu, cardamom, mango, papaya, vanilla, musk, tonka beans. Acts very tropical, but not beachy like that one I was talking about earlier, which is the acro. Doesn't have a beachy vibe, but more tropical fruits. But you're experiencing, maybe you're at some kind of a tropical fruit stand in some island. Maybe you're in Jamaica, and I don't know if they have all these fruits there, but just imagine something like that, and they're juicing for you, and you're gonna get this really nice, amazing juice, and you're smelling the essence off of it. That's what this Nota Loca reminds me of. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Very, very fruity. There's some sharp fruits, bit tart fruits, but mostly sweet fruits in here, and it has a base of some sweet vanilla touches, maybe a little bit of woodiness and muskiness there as well. So that's Nota Loca. Really yummy. If you haven't tried it, please do. Up next, going to a brand spanking new house called Free Yourself. This is Terre. Are you guys familiar with this house? Nice looking bottle there. So this is a very earthy, woody fragrance, and on me when I'm wearing it, it becomes very ambery as well. There's a lot of spices along the way, but wears super sexy. If you like the idea of fragrances like Declaration from Cartier, but more niche, more intense and potent, dry, and also a bit Middle Eastern. I get some Middle Eastern vibes from this, and they're not mentioning oud. I get a bit of oudiness, but it features saffron, davana, rose, tolu balsam, woody amber, cumin, apopanax, birch leaf, ylang ylang, thyme, cedar, sandalwood. Really great fragrance, and it acts like it has this great sexy trail when you're wearing it, especially when that cumin pops through. And the cumin that's in here is not like in your face. We have one coming up that is. This one is just a right amount, and I love it. It's a dry fragrance, but eventually becomes ambery, and it smells really, really fantastic. And definitely check it out if you like a little more masculine leaning. And again, I do get some Middle Eastern vibes from this. The rose, maybe, that's in here, although it doesn't shine a lot, creates a bit of a... Well, I'm not saying the rose is creating the oudiness, because everything else in here is creating that oudiness. But perhaps with the rose and saffron that's in here, it's giving me some Middle Eastern vibes. That's Free Yourself Terre. Got to smell it on camera for you guys. Yep, very dry. This might also come off a bit like Bois Mysterio from the house of Guerlain. Not identical, but idea is similar. And even though there's no leather mentioned in here, maybe there's some light traces of notes that are kind of creating a bit leatheriness under there, but I don't think it's a leather fragrance. It just has a very Middle Eastern, dry, desert-like, spicy concoction. And it's called Terre, so it comes off very earthy. So that's Terre from the house of Free Yourself, but the next fragrance is from the house of Boho Boko. It's Magic Mushrooms. So this is really interesting juice, as you can see. I love the color of this. What do you guys think? And this is also a bit unusual, and it's an acquired taste because non-conventional. First of all, it's a cannabis fragrance, but it also is called Magic Mushrooms because it's a drug. People take it. It has mushroom notes, so it comes off earthy. It comes off aromatic. It's a bit bitter, And again, it's a lot of different things together. It's an adventure to wear it. Some fruitiness comes in as well, but it's cypress, grapefruit, cardamom, magic mushrooms, blackcurrant, herbal notes, thyme, lavender, cloves, davana, immortelle, ylang ylang, cannabis, liqueur notes, patchouli, vetiver, and moss. Are you guys familiar with this one? Do try it. It's very, very unusual, very unique, and a very adventurous fragrance. Also has a very colorful staining, so beware, don't put it on your colored clothes. But again, cannabis has more sage-like qualities, and I feel like the sage in here is a bit like when you're walking and doing hiking along trails, and it's dry, it's autumn, that kind of sage smell, almost like what's the note? Maybe Artemisia comes through a little bit. But I think that's the experience you get because of the note that they're trying to create, the smell of cannabis. But there's a lot of earthy, mushroomy touches, a lot of aromatics, a lot of spices, and woods, and unique kind of notes coming through and creating a very unusual fragrance. Let me know if you've experienced this one. If you've got your kit, what do you think of Magic Mushrooms from Boho Boko? So we've got 3 more fragrances to talk about. We've done 17 so far. This is the ScentClub Mystery Box number 4. We ran out so quickly, and I'm so happy that you guys were able to get a kit. If you weren't, stay tuned for another regular ScentClub kit to drop here in a few weeks. But the next one I'm talking about is Juanillo from the house of Adamo Parfum. Are you guys familiar with this? So Juanillo is a delicious dates gourmand with kind of tropical notes. It's coconuts, date accord, pistachios, lemons, pralines, musk, ambroxan, oranges, and mandarin. I believe this fragrance is created by Hamid Muradi Kashani, and it's launched as a trio of fragrances from this house. Really unique fragrances, totally different than the first 5 fragrances that they launched. In fact, on the channel, I've got a whole video on this house, once again with Joe. Go catch that video. But I feel like they've created a really super delicious gourmand here. Not only having some tropical fruity touches, but also a bit desert-like Middle Eastern touches like the dates. And of course, pistachios. I think all these notes together creates for a wonderful gourmand experience. Let me know if you're familiar with this house. It's Juanillo from the house of Adamo Parfum. Quite yummy. I feel like if you've ever experienced the decadent world of dates, not only by themselves, but date stuff with nuts and chocolates and fruits and things like that, that's the experience you get with this one. I spent some time in Dubai, and I went to some shops that sold these kind of delicacies. So yummy. And this is kind of like that kind of a gourmand. It's dates, and then you stuff them with nuts, like this. In this case, it's pistachios. Maybe you sprinkle it with like shredded coconuts on top. Maybe a little bit of chocolate from the pralines. That's yum. But definitely pretty stand out with the dates, the pistachios, and the coconuts in that fragrance. So it creates for a really wonderful experience. The next fragrance is from a house called Orris Parfums. This is Yama Rouge. I actually featured a fragrance of theirs in a original ScentClub kit last summer in 2023. And a lot of you fell in love with it, and you were asking for where to buy it and things like that. Hopefully you'll fall in love with Yama Rouge as well, because it's super delicious. Really delicious rose fragrance. But it features notes of aldehydes, rose, jasmine, musk, amber, and sandalwood. Let me know if you're familiar with this house. Those of you got that kit last summer that featured a fragrance of theirs called Callous Subtle. Were you one of the ones that went and bought a bottle of it? Do put a comment down below so I can find out. But this is such a delicious rose, juicy, sparkly, effervescent, and also fruity, and just a very young rose, but with this most amazing fragrance that's got this freshness, a breeziness. But I think the only way I can get the rose to open up and smell that fragrant is through the heat of the sun. So, but this is really yummy. It does have Delina vibes, by the way. So those of you that love Delina, you might want to try Yama Rouge from the house of Orris Parfum. The last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is from the house of Le Jardin Retrouvé. It's Violette Q, this one right here. I discovered this fragrance at Exxon's earlier this year, instantly fell in love with it because it has a lot of cumin, and I'm obsessed with the cumin note. This is not for the faint of heart. If you're into cumin, please check it out, especially if you like violets. Violet note has grown on me quite a bit over the years. Earlier on, I was not a fan of violets and fragrances, but I love it now. I really do. And mixing it with the cumin, total vintage vibes here, and I love the way this thing smells. Featuring notes of violets, cardamom, violet leaves, cumin, sandalwood. So you've got all that powdery glory of the violets here, the little bit of a makeup-y vibe, but you also have its counterpart, I should say, violet leaves, which is still powdery, but adds a fresh layer, an ozonic layer to the fragrance. But it's the cumin that really does it for me here. It's that contrast against the violet and violet leaves, that sexy, musky, sweaty contrast of cumin that makes a really, really wonderful experience. So if you haven't tried this one, please do. And I feel like the brand is now selling here in the States at Lucky Scent even. So it's easier to try the House of Les Jardins Retrouvé. And this might be my favorite fragrance from this house now. And I'm so happy and grateful that it was featured here. Almost didn't make it, guys. Almost did not make the box. Thankfully it did. And I'm, again, really grateful that we were able to get this. So this is Les Jardins Retrouvé Violet Q, I think. So this has the violet candy effect happening here. Very much so. And the cumin, again, if you are not into cumin, this is one that you might stay away from. If you love cumin, this is one that you have to check out right away. And I'm going to mention this again. Somebody recently said that I should not be trusted as a reviewer if I enjoy cumin. You know what? I enjoy cumin to the max. I don't care what you say. I absolutely love it. And again, if you are a cumin fan, please, please, please check Violet Q. You have the sample kit. If you did, you're going to really enjoy this one because it's super fantastic. And I like that sweet candy violet vibes and also the fresh green ozonic watery vibes of both the violets and the violet leaves together with the cumin, the sandalwood, cardamom. Fantastic. So again, that's 20 fragrances in Scent Club kit number 4, mystery box number 4, I should say. Let me know if you've got your box. I should show you the box by itself. I don't even know if I did at the beginning, but the kit is like this, and the samples are in here like that. So if you haven't gotten your kit yet, you should be getting it very, very soon. And, you know, some of you probably did because these are priority. The reason we do priority on these is these boxes are bigger. They want us to do priority. So there's no way to get them to be shipped with the non-priority format, unfortunately. Thanks so much for getting your kits. If you missed out on this one, we have another one launching or dropping very, very soon. Stay tuned for that. That will be the last kit for a while. And then once I return back from Europe in October, there will be another kit. And then we do have another mystery box brewing as well. Stay tuned for that as well. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. I know it was a long video, but it's all of the fragrances that are featured in the mystery box number 4. If you have any questions or comments, do list below. Let me know if you have any questions. And also, if you've gotten your kits already, what have you enjoyed so far? What are you saving for later? Because some people have like to spread it out and discover something that they had an idea to sample. They might go for that first, or just I don't know how people do it. I kind of go through everything, but sometimes, you know, 20 samples could get overwhelming. So let me know if you've discovered something. Put a comment down below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.